because with every election cycle in Nigeria comes repeated assurances by INEC that, we can do this. However, we have seen one too many times. Election cancelled at the 11th hour, postponed at the 11th hour. Why should Nigerians take these assurances from the INEC and INEC chairman seriously and differently?
The chairman of the commission has made it very clear that under his watch, elections will no longer be postponed or rescheduled on account of logistics and logistic challenges. And the chairman has also made it very clear that we are in a slightly more comfortable position now than we were during the 2019 general election. As of today, we have already taken delivery of the full complement of the BVAS that will be used for the conduct of this election. We have tested all the BVAS that will be used for this election. We have carried out mock accreditation, and we are presently configuring the BVAS for the 176,846 polling units and the redundancies we are going to use in the 8,809 registration areas. We have also delivered the bulk of the result sheets and ballot papers that will be used for the conduct of this election. And we are going to begin the training of the ad hoc staff that will superintend this election on the 11th day of February, and it will go on up to the 22nd day of February 2023. So in terms of the movement of sensitive and non-sensitive materials, we are doing very well. In terms of the procurement of other materials required for the conduct of the election, we are doing well. Now we require a total of at least 138,000 vehicles to move ad hoc staff to various locations. We require at least 4,000 boats, and we require at least 88,000 motorcycles. We are already in advanced talk with the National Union of Road Transport Workers for the procurement of all these things. And so we are in a slightly more comfortable position now than we were in 2019. And so in terms of our preparations, we are preparing and preparing well. This election will not suffer any logistic challenges or any logistic mishap.
The hope of every single Nigerian, especially seeing what happened with the 2019 election, where, of course, the election had to be postponed by 7 days. But you say you're on top of it. We'll take your word for it and look forward to the day. But you know what? For the first time, we're seeing INEC actually head to the courts to actually challenge the ruling of a tribunal with regards to what happened in Osun State with regards to the governorship election there. Talk to us as to why this is important. I know we can't go into the details of the case, but why is this important for INEC to challenge that? And also marry this with the fact that this ruling by that tribunal, how is it impacting on the credibility of BVAS to really deliver on the credible polls which you have promised Nigerians?
On the 4th of February 2023, we tested the BVAS in terms of the upgrade we made to both the hardware and software in all the states of the Federation and in all the senatorial districts. And we are satisfied with the optimal performance of the BVAS. The machine is very, very robust, and we are confident that it is reliable and it will do the work that it has been programmed to do. Section 47, subsection 2 of the Electoral Act 2022 makes it mandatory that every registered voter who comes to the polling unit with his or her BVAS must be verified using the BVAS. And the BVAS must also authenticate the person's fingerprints or facials before the person will be allowed to vote. And so we are confident that we have our BVAS will perform optimally. In relation to your second question, you have made it very clear that the matter in court is sub judice, and we should allow our national and judicial institutions to do their work. But I think that this is not the first time that the commission will be challenging the decision of a lower court before a higher court. The moment we are convinced that our processes and procedures are at stake, or the moment we are convinced that it is important for us to go and get a judicial determination on a particular point of law or on a particular issue, we don't hesitate in approaching the apex court or in approaching a higher court to seek a judicial determination of this issue. And I think that maybe it will be more prudent for us to allow the courts to look into the various issues raised in the Osun governorship election tribunal judgment, and then for us to have a clear determination or in relation to certain issues that have been thrown up by that particular judgment.
Mr. Okoye, I'm glad you said that, because generally speaking, and this is not restricted to Osun, the question raised is the credibility of BVAS. BVAS seems to be under scrutiny. How do we still have a case of overvoting despite BVAS? Is it a case of ICT, or is it a case of human error, which calls to question the training of INEC staff in handling BVAS? I think that's really the question here. But I also want you to talk about, because it's about confidence and the election, I want you to talk about foreigners having PVCs and INEC having to clean up registers. So how did we miss foreigners registering for elections in Nigeria?
On the fourth issue you raised, I think that it is important for Nigerians to understand that the BVAS is not an electronic voting machine. That the BVAS is to make sure that people do not engage in identity theft, or that people do not come to the polling unit on election day to pose that they are registered voters, when in actual fact they are not registered voters. It is also meant to check a situation where people will go and warehouse PVCs and give to other people on election day to come and use it to vote on election day. And so what the BVAS does is verification and authentication that the person who is at the polling unit is not engaged in identity theft. Now, technology alone cannot guarantee the conduct of free, fair, transparent, verifiable, and inclusive election. Technology can aid the elimination of pernicious human interference in the electoral process. But ultimately, it is the individual, the human element, that can come in to interfere with what technology does. And so the issue of overvoting in any election can happen with the BVAS or without the BVAS. This is because if for instance, one single individual mischievously throws in either an old ballot paper or a ballot paper into a ballot box, it causes overvoting, because there will not be a discrepancy between the number of accredited voters and those who voted. I'm sure that at an appropriate time, it will be much more easier for us to go into this whole issue of overvoting and the performance of the BVAS. But I want to assure Nigerians, and the chairman has assured Nigerians, that the BVAS will perform optimally, and the BVAS will perform the work it has been programmed and designed to do. On the issue of foreigners, you had the immigration people saying, let me put it this way. One, the commission does not have control over who comes into the country and who does not come into the country. Secondly, the commission does not issue identity cards to individuals. Based on the ECOWAS protocol on the free movement of people, foreigners come into the country. Some of them come and then acquire the identity cards of Nigeria. They acquire driver's license, they acquire other identities. And when they go to the polling unit, what the registration officer does is covered by Section 12 of the Electoral Act 2022. 1, to determine that the person is of age. 2, to determine that the person does not suffer from any legal disability. And also 3, to determine that the person is a Nigerian. So if somebody comes to the polling unit, the person speaks the language of the area, the person has a Nigerian driver's license or an Nigerian international passport, there is no way a registration officer will not register such an individual. If the person if the registration officer is in doubt, the person asks for an identity card, asks for a driver's license, or asks for an international passport, and the person produces it, and the registration officer does the registration. What the immigration is doing is what they're supposed to do. When they arrest people who are foreigners who are not supposed to be in possession of a permanent voter's card, they turn in those permanent voter's cards to the commission, and the commission deletes those individuals from the voters register. So we keep on cleaning our voters register, and we'll keep on working with various national institutions to make sure that those who are not supposed to be on the register are not on the register. And that is also the reason why we display the voters register for claims and objections, for Nigerians to also assist us in cleaning up the register and pointing at those who are not supposed to be on the voters roll.
Now the registration is closed for this election circle. So we're looking forward to the next one. What can INEC do really to preclude this from happening again? Well, we're seeing foreigners, maybe we don't even know how many of them are part of this 93.5 million registered voters that you have. So how can we prevent this from happening again in the future?
There are things that can be done. One, the agency that has the constitutional and legal responsibility of preventing Nigerians from getting Nigerian identity cards, getting Nigerian driver's license, and getting Nigeria's international passport must do their work and do their work well. Secondly, the agency or the organ of government responsible for policing our borders to make sure that illegal immigrants do not come in illegally should also do their work. On our own part, we will keep on carrying out due diligence in terms of who comes to register. And anytime we are in doubt, we demand for concrete evidence on what should be done. But I want to urge Nigerians and plead with Nigerians that when we display the voters register for claims and objections in accordance with Section 19 and Section 20 of the Electoral Act, they should assist Nigerians in pointing out the names of those deceased individuals, names of foreigners who are not supposed to be on the register, names of underage persons who are not supposed to be on the register, and also names, other pernicious or malicious names that have gotten into the register. It is through this collaborative effort that we can clean up the voters register, make sure that our voters register is robust and good enough for the conduct of elections.